Hi, this is Ajay Anand. Welcome to science classes from excelup.com. In this video, I will be talking about organic compounds or compounds of carbon. You will be learning about the special property of carbon, that is catenation, about hydrocarbons, about chemical properties of organic compounds, and about soaps and detergents. Carbon is unique because it is all pervasive. If you will look around you, almost 9 out of 10 things which you use is made up of carbon. Even your whole body is made up of carbon. So carbon is important, but carbon is not available in abundance on our earth. In fact, the atmosphere has just 0.03% of carbon, while the earth's crust has just 0.02% carbon. So it is available in minuscule quantity, but in spite of the fact, carbon is available in almost everything which we see around us. So that is why carbon is important. In fact, the scientists earlier believed that organic compounds, they are impossible to synthesize, and that is why, because they came from organic sources or living beings. So that is why the compounds of carbon were named as organic compound. Even today, the branch of chemistry which deals with compounds of carbon is called organic chemistry. So this shows the importance of carbon. So why carbon is so important and so unique? To understand this, let us try to analyze the electronic configuration of carbon. The atomic number of carbon is 6. So it has 2 electrons in the innermost shell and 4 electrons in the outermost shell. You have read in previous classes that any atom, it wants to become stable, and while doing so, it tries to gain the electronic configuration of its nearest noble gas by making octet in the outermost shell. In some cases it will be 2. So the electronic configuration of helium. So carbon has 2 options. It can lose 4 electrons to have 2 electrons in its outermost shell, or it can gain 4 electrons to have 8 electrons in its outermost shell. But there is a problem in this approach. Transfer of 4 electrons, it requires too much energy, and that is not possible under normal circumstances. Moreover, if carbon loses 4 electrons, it will be left with just 2 electrons and 6 protons. So there will be an imbalance between 6 positive charges and 2 negative charges. The same thing is going to happen in case the carbon gains 4 electrons. So what is a better way out? Carbon makes a bond by sharing of electrons. So a bond which is formed by sharing of electrons is called covalent bond. So there are 2 types of bonds, ionic bond and covalent bond. Ionic bond is formed by transfer of electrons, and covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons. So the difference is, ionic bond is very strong while covalent bond is weak. Ionic compounds, they conduct electricity in their aqueous solution, but that is not the case with covalent bonds. Ionic compounds are solids at room temperature, but covalent compounds can be solids, liquids or gases. The presence of metal is a necessary condition for making an ionic compound, but that is not the case with covalent compound. Now here we have given some examples of covalent bond. The simplest example is of hydrogen molecule. A hydrogen has 1 electron in its outermost shell, so it will try to attain the configuration of helium by having 2 electrons in its outermost shell. So hydrogen shares 1 electron with another atom of hydrogen, and by doing so, both of them, they get stable configuration and the molecule H2 is formed. In case of hydrochloric acid, hydrogen shares 1 electron with chlorine to get 2 electrons in its outermost shell, while chlorine, which has 7 electrons in the outermost shell, it shares 1 electron with hydrogen, and chlorine gets 8 electrons in its outermost shell. So it becomes HCl. Now there is example of chlorine molecule, molecule of water. These examples are from organic compounds, methane, ethene and ethine. So in case of methane, one carbon atom is sharing electrons with 4 atoms of hydrogen. So each atom of hydrogen shares 1 electron with the atom of carbon. So each hydrogen atom gets 2 electrons in its outermost shell, while carbon atoms get 2 multiplied with 4, that is 8 electrons in its outermost shell. In this case, 2 carbon atoms, they are sharing 4 electrons, that is 2 pairs of electrons, and here 3 pairs of electrons are being shared. So the bond which is formed by sharing of 1 pair of electrons is called a single bond. The bond where 2 pairs of electrons are being shared is called a double bond, and the bond where 3 pairs of electrons are being shared is called a triple bond. So you get single bond in this compound, double bond here and triple bond here. Now carbon has another property that is called catenation. It can form combine with any other element or carbon. It can make a very long chain of carbon. The chain can have hundreds or thousands of carbon atoms. The chain can be linear, it can be branched, or it can be cyclic. So this property enables carbon to make a huge number of compounds. Now there are many other elements which have the same number of valence electrons at carbon. For example, silicon is there, but after a certain size, the compounds of silicon, they are not stable, because silicon in itself is bigger than carbon atom. So carbon has an advantage of a small atom. That is why carbon makes a large number of compound and shows a very high degree of catenation. Now let us move on to hydrocarbon. The compounds of hydrogen and carbon are called hydrocarbon. There are 2 types of hydrocarbon. One is called saturated hydrocarbon and another is called unsaturated hydrocarbon. The saturated hydrocarbon is generally called alkane, and there are 2 types of unsaturated hydrocarbons. They are called alkene and alkyne. So in case of saturated hydrocarbon, all the valence electrons of carbon are satisfied. They always make single bond. But that is not the case with unsaturated hydrocarbons. So there will be double bond in case of alkene and triple bond in case of alkyne. These electrons, valence electrons of carbon, they are not fully satisfied, and that is why they are named unsaturated hydrocarbons. The general formula of alkane is CnH2n plus 2, where N stands for the number of carbon atom. So if there is 1 carbon atom, the compound will be CH4, that is methane. In case of 2 atoms of carbon, it will be C2H6, it is ethane. So for 3 carbon atoms, it is propane, for 4 butane, then pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and so on. In case of alkene, the compound with single carbon atom is not possible. You can just cross check it by making a structural diagram. So the valence electrons of carbon will not be satisfied. So we start with 2 atoms of carbon, that is ethene. Same happens in case of alkyne. 2 molecule with 2 carbon atoms is the first member, ethyne, propyne, then butyne, pentyne, etc. Now let us move to functional group. What happens? There are certain elements or certain radicals which replace 1 atom of hydrogen from a long chain of hydrocarbon, and those elements or radicals, they are called functional group because they impart a distinct chemical property to a particular group of compound, and we name the organic compound based on the presence of particular functional group. We either add a prefix or a suffix to name the carbon organic compound. So for example, let us take the example of methane, CH4. If you add a halogen like chlorine, bromine or iodine, you name it accordingly. So it becomes bromomethane or methyl bromide. If you add OH here, so it becomes OL, ethanol. You add a suffix OL. If you add CHO functional group, then it becomes methanol. Al is the suffix. For ketone, it is ONE1. For carboxylic acid, that is COOH. You add oic acid, so it becomes methanoic acid. Okay. Homologous series. The compounds which come under which have the same functional group, they make a homologous series. The members of homologous series, they have similar chemical properties and similar physical properties, but there will be some gradation in physical properties as we go up in terms of number of carbon atoms in a particular compound. So to understand another thing, that is how the subsequent members of homologous series behave, let us compare CH4, that is methane, ethane, and butane. Okay, sorry, propane. So in case of CH4, there is one carbon atom and there are 4 atoms of hydrogen. So what happens when we move one step ahead to ethane? 1 atom of carbon and 2 atoms of hydrogen are added. So the difference is of CH2 unit. When move further ahead, once again 1 atom of carbon and 2 atoms of hydrogen are added. So here also the difference is CH2 unit, that is of 14 atomic unit. 12 unit comes from carbon and 2 units come from 2 atoms of hydrogen. Okay, so the members, each subsequent member of a subsequent homologous series, they differ by CH2 unit or 14 atomic unit. Now let us talk about chemical properties of organic compounds. So first of all, combustion reaction. Carbon undergoes combustion in all its allotropic form, and while undergoing combustion, carbon gives carbon dioxide, heat and light. Since organic compounds, they contain carbon, so they also undergo combustion to produce carbon dioxide. They contain hydrogen as well, so they give water vapor. So the reactions are C plus O2 is equal to CO2 plus heat and light. For methane, it is CH4 plus 2O2 is equal to CO2 plus 2H2O plus heat and light. Oxidation reaction. Combustion is a type of oxidation reaction, but we need to discuss another oxidation reaction as well. So when an alcohol, it undergoes oxidation, it gives a carboxylic acid. So here ethanol is heated in presence of alkaline potassium permanganate or acidified potassium dichromate to give acetic acid or ethanoic acid. Addition reaction. Unsaturated hydrocarbons, as I have talked earlier, they have some unsaturated valence electrons of carbons. So they easily undergo addition reaction. When ethylene is heated in presence of nickel catalyst, it gives ethane. So one hydrogen added over here, then double bond is removed. Now all the bonds are single bonds. Same thing happens here also. Ethylene is reacting with chlorine to give dichloroethane. Substitution reaction. Saturated hydrocarbons, they are generally non-reactive, or you can say inert, but when they react with chlorine in presence of sunlight, chlorine substitutes hydrogen atoms one by one. So if CH4 reacts with chlorine in the presence of sunlight, it gives CH3Cl. In subsequent steps, the chlorine will keep on displacing these hydrogen atoms and we will end up with CCl4, that is carbon tetrachloride. Now we will be discussing about 2 important organic compounds. One is ethanol and another is ethanoic acid. The molecular formula of ethanol is C2H5OH. It is generally called alcohol or ethyl alcohol, and this is the structural formula. Ethanol has a low melting point, so it easily vaporizes on room temperature. Then ethanol is highly inflammable as well. There are some reactions. One reaction is with sodium. So when ethanol reacts with sodium, it gives sodium ethanoate. So the reaction is 2CH3 CH2OH plus 2Na is equal to 2CH3 CH2O Na plus H2. Oxidation, we have discussed about this in the previous section also. So when ethanol is heated in presence of alkaline KMnO4 or acidified K2Cr2O7, it gives ethanoic acid. Dehydration, when ethanol is heated in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, a molecule of hydrogen is removed from it and it gives ethylene or ethyne. Okay. Now alcohol is a very important product because it is used in making medicines, dyes, paints and so many items. Ethanol is also used for making wine, beer and whiskey. But consumption of liquor is a social evil. So it needs to be controlled. What happens? You may have heard some news about sometimes that 50 people have died because of consuming spurious quality of liquor or duplicate liquor or whatever. So let us try to understand why does this happen. What happens? Because ethanol is also used for industrial purposes. So for industrial purposes, this is sold in the form of a mixture of ethanol and methanol plus some dye to give it a colored appearance. This is called denatured alcohol. Now what bootleggers do in order to earn a fat profit, they mix denatured alcohol with country made liquor. Now when methanol enters the liver, it becomes methanol, and methanol has a tendency to coagulate protoplasm, which results in cell death. It can also result in the death of the person, and this is what happens when somebody consumes the spurious quality of liquor. Ethanoic acid, the molecular formula is CH3COOH. This is the structural formula. This is commonly called acetic acid or glacial acetic acid because it freezes in winter. When acetic acid is diluted with water, it is called vinegar. Vinegar is used as a preservative in pickles and also as food additive. Some important reactions are the reaction with base. Since it is an acid, so it will react with a base the way an inorganic acid does, and this is a neutralization reaction, so a salt will be produced and water molecule will be formed. So the reaction is acetic acid plus sodium hydroxide is equal to sodium acetate plus water. Esterification reaction, when any carboxylic acid is mixed with alcohol and it is gently heated, it produces a sweet smelling substance called ester. Here ethanoic acid is being mixed with ethanol and they are being heated to produce ethyl ethanoate. In fact, esters, they are sweet smelling substances and they are used as food additive. Now another reaction is hydrolysis of ester. So when an ester reacts with sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium salt of the respective acid and the respective alcohol is produced. So the reaction is CH3COO C2H5 plus NaOH is equal to CH3COO Na plus C2H5. This reaction is also called saponification reaction because it is an important step towards manufacturing of soaps. Now let us talk about reactions with carbonate and bicarbonate. In the lesson on acids, bases and salts, you have read that when an acid reacts with sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, it gives carbon dioxide, water and sodium salt. Okay, so same thing happens here. So when ethanoic acid or acetic acid reacts with sodium carbonate, it gives sodium acetate, carbon dioxide and water. Same reaction happens here also. Ethanoic acid plus sodium bicarbonate is equal to sodium acetate, carbon dioxide plus water. Now soaps and detergents. Soaps are sodium salts of higher fatty acid and detergents are sodium salts of benzene sulfonic acid or of long chain alkyl hydrogen sulfate. Soaps are used for washing purposes. We use them for washing clothes and for bathing. Soaps work wonderfully in soft water. But in case of hard water, soaps do not work. They do not give too much lather because of presence of calcium or magnesium salts in hard water. So there we need to use detergents. Now let us try to understand how does soap work. In fact, the molecule of soap has two ends. The head is hydrophilic in nature, that means it has affinity towards water, and the tail is hydrophobic in nature. It means it has no affinity towards water, rather affinity towards lipid or fat. So a soap, dirt and grease which are on our body or in our clothes, they contain grease, oil or fat. So the soap molecule, its hydrophobic tail, it gets attached to the dirt particles, and so many molecules they get attached in a similar fashion. All of them they end up making a globule like structure. This structure is called micelle. Now the hydrophilic end is on the outside of the globe. So thus micelle makes a colloid in water, and once we rinse the cloth, the dirt is washed away along with the micelle, and that is how soap works. So we have talked about the importance of carbon, about the special property of carbon, that is catenation. We talked about hydrocarbons and homologous series. We discussed about chemical properties of organic compounds, about two important compounds, ethanoic acid and ethanol, and at the end we discussed about the cleansing action of soap. That's all. Thank you.